Welcome back. In this video, we're going to take care of in-app purchases in our game so that players can spend real money. So to do this, we first need to enable the IAP, so the in-app products, in the project settings. Then we need to upload a build to the Play Store so we can add products. And well, so let's first of all enable the IAP. Therefore, go over to your project settings and then go to in-app purchasing. And here, click on the off button so that we can turn it on. So now Unity will import everything that it needs, and then you can see that it is turned on. The current version is set to 3.01 for me, which is totally fine and it works. And now, by the way, enabling in-app purchases will also enable Unity Analytics to collect data regarding your app revenue into one place, since the in-app purchases is a cross-platform service. So before we upload the game to the Play Store, we need to first sign the application using a key store. This key is proof that we are the owners or the developers of the game. We will need this key whenever we want to upload a new version to the store. But before we do that, we need to tweak a few things because Play Store rules. So let's go to the project settings and then select player here. And then under other settings, change the scripting backend to IL2CPP. So here, scroll down until you find the configuration. So here, scripting backend IL2PP. And then also make sure that we are targeting ARM64 applications as well. So the architecture 64 as well here. Otherwise, Google won't let us publish our application. So that's very tricky, but you must set that up. Now, in the same menu, go to the publishing settings, which means you need to scroll all the way down until you add publishing settings. Then click on the key store manager and create a new key store. So here you can select a dedicated location where you want to store the key store. So you have to consider this key store being like your lock of keys, and you store your keys inside of this key store. Okay, and the keys are going to be important for you to update your game. So make sure that you don't lose that. Otherwise, without the keys, you cannot do that. For example, I'm going to store it in my Hausmeister Tycoon. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this one key store. All capital in my case. And then I'm going to save it there. Now fill in the required fields here and press on add key once you've done so. And what's really important is don't forget the password. Write it down. Every time we open the project, we will need to enter the password in order to build the game with the same key store. So really make sure that you have this password ready. So you will need to set up the alias as well as the passwords here for your key store, as well as for your key, for your individual key that you have in this key store. As I said, you can have multiple keys in one key store. And then you need to set up the organization. And once that is done, you can add the key. Once that is done, you should be back at your player project settings, and you can scroll up and change the company name here as well. In my case, it's tutorials.eu. Okay, at least that's the name that I'm going to use here. Okay, once all of these changes are done, let's close this window and let's go over to our build settings here and then click on build. You can then select where you want to store your APK. So I'm going to create a new folder, APKs. Let me store it there. And I'm going to call this one HM or Hausmeister Tycoon pre-built. You can of course save it or call it however you want. And as it seems, I didn't store it in the folder that I was planning on doing, but it's going to be fine. Either way, we should now create an APK file, which you can actually install on your Android device if you have one, or on the Android emulator if you want to set it up on your PC. This process takes a little while, and actually let me drag it into my APKs folder. But then I have my pre-built APK file, which I can now of course go ahead and install on my Android device. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make sure that I load it into the Google Play Store so that we can set up the in-app purchases properly. All right, so now we need to create a new app. Click on create new app, then give it a name. So fill in the app details, such as, for example, in our case, I'm going to use HM Tycoon. Then define that it's an app and as well as that it's free. You need to accept the declarations here, so check those and read through the details. If you want to know more about it, then click create app. So we will be using the internal testing track. So here we can start testing now, release your app early. That's great. That's exactly what we want because we don't want to publish it, but we want to test it. And therefore, let's select testers and create a new release afterwards. So let's set the testers that we want to use here. Let's create a new emailing list of testers. First, you need to enter a name for that list. So we could call it like my testing group or something like that. And then enter the email addresses. So here, the email addresses of the accounts that you want to be able to test the application. So here your Google Play account that you have. And then save that. And now click on Save Changes for that to be saved. Once it is saved, create a new release at the top right-hand corner. And here, click on Continue and upload the APK that we built. So you can either click the upload button or just drag in the APK. In our case, the pre-built APK, or however you called it. So this will then take a little while until it's fully uploaded. Once it is uploaded, you will find the APK here, your project, click Save and review the release. So now scroll down, see the details here, the release name, for example, and the number, and then start rollout to internal testing. Click Rollout, and then your release will be available. So you can click on testers to see the testing list, and here you can copy to join on the web. So we will find the link to download the game this way. So paste it in here and you will see this invite. You can then accept this invite and then install the public version on the Google Play Store. Here you can then install the app on your devices that you have available. Now that we uploaded an APK with the building permissions added to it, we can create a new in-app product. So let's create an in-app product. Let's give it an ID here, enter the product ID, which we will use in Unity later. So I'm going to call this one Remove Ads, and then fill in the name and description so that the players can know what they are exactly going to buy. So we're going to just keep it simple, say remove ads in both cases. Then set the price that you want to set and click save. So I'm going to set that to 4 SAR. Then I hit apply prices as well as save. I'm going to set it to 4 SAR and then let's save the changes and go back to your in-app projects. So here you can create another product. And this one will be the same process that we did before. This product will be 100k euros of in-game currency. So give it a little bit of a detail here, 100k euro. And then the description, you could of course be a little more in detail here. Set the price. And in my case, it will be something like 12 SAR, whatever it is, the currency is that you have set up in your example, and save the changes once that is done as well. So now you will see your two in-app purchases or in-app products. And now let's create the third product, which is to hire a manager that will collect the profits automatically. So I'm going to set the product ID to manager. The product details will be hire a manager. That will be the name. And the description will be the same. So of course you could describe it a little further. Let's set the price here. And you can think of a useful price, something like 20. You can of course also update the exchange rates if you wanted to. So let's save that and now let's activate it. And now we have 3 in-app products that we can use. You see here 3 of them with the product IDs. Keep this page opened because we will need it to double check our IDs in Unity.